This video will act as a part 2 to my rebuttal of the Homotopia allegations, in which I've addressed on stream and then re-uploaded that segment onto my tertiary channel. I've also addressed this in a form of multiple Google documents and on my main channel in the EnzoShorts single response video. This video will categorically go over every point cemented against me and go over the owner and creator of the document and the disgusting things he and his friends have done. This video will also debunk the lies, Sydiced, XDGAMER and other bad actors have spread against my name to try and tarnish my reputation by trying to call me a pedophile. And in this video I will be taking accountability for my negligence in this situation that eventually led to something like this transpiring, in which should have never happened, despite the fact it was not my intentions to cultivate a server as such, because I wasn't even active in the server and I had no idea what was happening. So this basically all started in late June, where a person named XDGAMER made a call out post stating, Roblox YouTuber Parlo has been exposed for running a not safe for work Discord server in which allowed minors. Parlo knowingly exposed minors to pornographic content and allowed inappropriate photos of minors to be posted, and this is a complete and categorical lie worded in the worst way possible to try and make me look bad, but I'll debunk all of this later. First of all, you need to know who XDGAMER is. XDGAMER is someone who I have covered extensively in the past in the form of multiple videos, Google documents and even archive servers. This person has doxed and harassed multiple minors, posted CP and owned servers in which facilitated the distribution of not safe for work to minors, which is extremely hypocritical in the sense that he attempted to spin a narrative that I did, even though he literally did 10 trillion times worse. This person created this document under my dad's doc's legal name, in which he had obtained after releasing a doc spin with all my personal information in it on October the 1st, 2022. And he used this information consistently over and over again for the past 370 days to harass me with. The goal of XDGAMER's campaign was made obvious, and lots of my mutuals know this. XDGAMER wants me to try and end my life again, and this motive has been made extremely clear in this tweet which I'm showing right now. Now, XDGAMER literally posted CP of Nattie Forsyth multiple times from when they were 17 years old. I've literally got Nattie Forsyth's multiple testimonies of this, and they posted this multiple times on Twitter, meaning that they possessed and distributed CP, and also meaning multiple minors saw this image in the replies of Nattie Forsyth, and they also aided this with the caption, "I can see why you cut this off because XDGAMER is extremely transphobic and bigoted." This person also signal boosted art of me when I was a minor, drawn as a child getting R-worded, and then XDGAMER tried to crappily defend this by saying, oh, it's of a Roblox avatar. No, it's purposely drawn as a child, it has the anatomical features of a child, and it was made when I was a minor. It's literally art of CP. This person has also posted at what the time were claiming to be nude images of themselves, and they were saying they were a minor. So they posted this image to me and my friends, one of them named Atta, who was literally 13 years old, so XDGAMER quite literally posted a dick pic to a 13-year-old. XDGAMER later walks back on this, claiming it was just an image from Reddit, yet there was no age verification whatsoever on the person whose picture this was, and he was literally posting it to children for no reason whatsoever, and he's got literally no proof that it even came from Reddit, so great job there, XDGAMER. So my point still very much stands. This person also has my self-harm images from when I was 16 saved on his computer, and has reposted the images multiple times to other minors and has made disgusting comments about them. He has also given these images to his goons, who then proceed to upload it to Roblox and post it in the Holocaust games. XDGAMER also doxes multiple minors and then blackmails them with their information, stating that they will publicize it and put their family in danger if they don't do what they say. For example, they doxed a 13-year-old moderator of mine, blackmailing them with it to try and give him webhook permissions, then raiding my server with my docs information after he got webhook permissions. Literally, he is blackmailing children with their personal information to try and aid him. So when he eventually did raid my server, he linked the false documents and was literally being racist, posting all my information on my server. XDGAMER is also friends with literal Nazis, who consistently reposts Nazi propaganda and anti-Semitic things. They also repost executions and repost not safe for work content to deliberately expose minors to inappropriate content and gore, who are literally following them and monitoring their accounts. And they also posted not safe for work content to a literal 15-year-old, and they also made terroristic threats on me and my family, showing my house built in Roblox getting blown up by pipe bombs, and then also gunning me and my family down. It's absolutely disgusting. They also made gun threats to Roblox, made a plethora of disgusting racist comments, made shooter edits, and even made a Holocaust game on Roblox, which allowed CP art of me to be used as decals, and also posted my face and also my self-harm images onto the platform. When XDGAMER made his server, in which allowed disgusting comments to be made against me and threats, His friend, a person named Cami, who was someone who took my old Twitter alias and tag, said he would send not safe for work in the server, and then he proceeded to post the aforementioned CP art of my character getting R-worded to Delta Scheme, who was in the server, who was literally 14 years old. And the server allowed this to happen, so basically all of these users, XDGAMER, Cami, and the fan page person, are all in cahoots with each other and have all posted NSFW to minors. XDGAMER did this when me and Solus confronted him in 2022 December about what he's done. He literally reposted disgusting things. These people have all done the same things they attempt to try and criticize other people out on, and they're literally put on a platform higher than everyone else because, oh look, he's going after Parlo, so he must be a great human being. An enemy of my enemy is a friend. And the fan page person even shows a video of my face with their body fluids spurted all over it, in which they claim was shampoo. Yeah, I'm sure that white liquid was clearly shampoo, and when confronted about, okay, show proof that it's shampoo, show your shampoo bottles, he literally didn't reply with any. But now you get to know how bad these people are. Now, when I bring up the context, of course, behind XDGAMER and his associates and friends, people state that the acts are no excuse for what I did. However, they negate the vital context behind this person. Keep in mind, XDGAMER, the person who made this slanderous document on me, has a massive vendetta and bias against me, and has made it his life goal for over a year to non-stop harass me, slander me, and to try and push me to suicide once again, because they tried to do that in November and almost took my own life. They are desperately trying to pull any narrative they can to try and call me a pedophile, to try and hurt and damage my reputation and ruin my life. The document XDGAMER forged under my dad's doc's legal name, in which he started purporting all over the internet, is just another example of them trying to over-exaggerate the situation, or any situation, and warp the context to make me look absolutely horrible in it, even though I barely have any culpability in this situation. This is just part of the extended smear campaign these individuals have initiated on me for the longest period of time, coming up to 400 days now. They can't even be consistent in the narrative they uphold. They claim it was a not safe for work server, then they claim it's a suggestive server, then they claim it's a softcore NSFW server. Like, please pick a narrative. But I'll go over the reality behind the situation after I go over many other points these people have attempted to use against me to try and pin me as a pedophile. Now, EnzoShorts, who is someone who has sent genitalia mutilation gore to minors, is extremely hate-filled, racist, and bigoted, and trust me, there are absolutely tons of screenshots regarding this behavior and supporting the narrative I've just stated. He even extorted people for money, as he was the main figurehead behind the YouTube termers situation, and he should not be trusted at all. He's literally a compulsive liar. So anyway, this guy is associated with XDGAMER's Goon Squad, and they have attempted to edit proof of me, quote-unquote, accidentally showing a cheese pizza folder on a live stream. Of course, many people started pushing this completely false claim out merely because they dislike me, have a bias towards me, and hate me, and I had to deal with debunking these incessant lies and slander for hours that day. The truth is, he literally edited the image, and you can see a black outline around the image if you actually look close enough, showing how it was literally edited on Photoshop or something like that. And people called him out on this lie after the timestamp was found in my unlisted stream, in which showed the real file and what it was called. It was literally just a file in which had starter images for this computer in which was used. Like, it was literally nothing else. These people just forged something as serious as this to try and screw with me. And this person obviously just maliciously forged proof as part of their collective smear campaign against me to try and expose me for something I never did. And many people, keep in mind, ate this story up. There were even videos made on this, which are now taken down because the guy who made that video was literally giving me death threats and spreading libel slander against me. This follows with this Enzo guy also purporting a completely false story stating Parlo victim comes forward. Someone today DM'd me with credible evidence, including hundreds of screenshots, and testified that Parlo groomed them at 15 years old, exclamation mark. Like and retweet to get this disgusting pedophile off the platform. Hashtag cancel Parlo, hashtag Parlo groomed me. Now, this quote-unquote victim claims in December of last year I messaged them and that they were 15. So first of all, even if this was true, which it isn't, I would have been literally 17 years old, and that age gap dynamic of 1 or 2 years wouldn't even be pedophilic. This person also conveniently asked for their name to be blurred. I wonder why. Maybe because these are totally false allegations and never happened. And if I did send nude images of myself when I was 17 to them, which never happened, they literally had them in a supposed Dropbox here, in which would literally be considered as possession of CP. Also, furthermore, no screenshots are ever shown of message exchanges, nor do they have any actual proof backing up the narrative that any grooming actually took place, because these people have no idea about the actual definition of grooming or pedophilia. These people misconstrued any random theoretical age gap and deem it as pedophilia, merely because they want to desperately try so hard to ruin my reputation. The term pedophilia and grooming seem to be the new buzzword in the community nowadays to try and ruin the validity of the other side of the argument. Just as in 2016 the worst thing to call a fellow creator would be a clickbaiter or scammer, nowadays libel slander like this just seems to be chucked around the whole community with no verification on the situation, because these people think that they can get away with it with zero repercussions. When stuff like this goes unchecked, people think it's just going to be perfectly suitable that I'm just going to deem you as a pedophile even though I have no proof, but just because I dislike you. Literally, pedophilia in the ICD scale is legally defined as someone who's over the age of 16 engaging with someone sexually who is 5 or more years younger than them. Now notice as well how the full Dropbox link with the quote-unquote proof is never actually shown and the link is cut off, because there is no proof, because there is no Dropbox, because this never happened, and it is just yet another complete and utter lie, and, you know, flat out slanderous and defamatory. These kind of lies render people getting cease and desists at the doorstep and being in legal trouble, so Enzo, you should watch out here, buddy. Also, Sydiced has engaged in defamation against me, just further ruining his credibility and validity, as if he had any more anyway, because he decided to maliciously crop screenshots set in my public Discord server channel regarding me and Maple, and then he tried to spin a narrative that I was a pedophile because of it. Maple is quite literally 17 and I'm 18, and what was said in the Discord servers are jokes. We never had an e-sex session, and there is no proof of it ever transpiring because it didn't. But this didn't stop Sydiced from trying to frame this any way he could. He took a joke completely out of context and then tried to state that it was something which genuinely happened. And this wasn't even the first time, and it's certainly not the last time, that he will ever try and frame a content creator as a groomer, pedophile, weirdo. And when people weren't buying this garbage narrative he posted on his YouTube community post, because it was quite literally a 1-year age gap, he states, "So an adult having it with a minor is okay to you because it's a 1-year age gap? Yeah, no." And then this person replies with, "The frick? It's only 1 year, bro. Some people have gotten married despite being almost a decade apart." And then Sydiced just completely brushes that off, doesn't even address it, and states, "Now you're defending pedophilia. How does that feel?" And there's another screenshot here stating, "The age of consent where Parlo lives is 16. Shut up, buddy." And then Sydiced states, "Parlo is in the UK. Maple is in the US, where the age of consent is 18. Still pedophilic. Don't know what point you try to prove here." And then here's Maple literally stating the age of consent where I live is 16, not 18. It just goes to show that Sydiced has literally no idea what he's talking about. Keep in mind too, in his original video exposing me, he had cropped out a portion and segment in the video where he was vehemently trying to claim that I was a pedophile. He probably took this out to avoid me using this against him in court. And it's also very funny to see him when he's actually confronted about associating with genuine dangers to people such as XDGAMER, because he literally showed XDGAMER's doxing video on me as his end screen annotations for his original exposed video on me. We've literally got archive proof of this, and he was literally in contact with XDGAMER in the past and had interacted with him on Twitter too. And he also literally attempted to reuse his exact same points. XDGAMER was literally funneling in points to Sydiced, and when he is asked on Twitter why he's associated with these horrible people, because he normally tries to purport himself as a moral arbiter of justice, well, if he was, why is he associating with these bad people? Well, what he does is he either just ignores the point entirely, doesn't address it, or uses something called ad hominems, in which he will literally just smear the other side and say, "Oh well, this person did so and so, so why are you defending them?" You know, ad hominems, which Sydiced uses quite a lot, is just a prime example of not taking accountability whatsoever and just completely avoiding the subject at hand. What I find funny too is he associated with Nattie Forsyth for the longest period of time. It was only until she actually made a video on him in XDGAMER that Sydiced broke ties and started calling her a pedophile. Her allegations were out years prior to them speaking, yet he literally remained in contact and never once called her a pedophile. It was only until it was necessary to fit his narrative of attacking the other side and pretending to care about what they did. It's just clear that he didn't really care what Nattie Forsyth did, and he's only calling him a pedophile in order to fit his narrative. It's just clear deception techniques and narrative warping. It was only until it was necessary to fit his narrative of attacking the other side and pretending to care about what they did, yet he remained in contact and never once called her a pedophile, only until Nattie Forsyth decided to start exposing him. Like, he clearly didn't care. It's a clear deception technique here and narrative warping to try and muddy the waters and ruin the other side and the opposing side of the argument. And it's so easy to pick up on this this if you know the manipulation that Sydiced and these types of people are trying to pull. They're never the moral arbiters of justice in this situation. They've done far worse than what they're trying to claim the opposing side has done, and they'll only really care about what you've done in the past and use it as bad faith points when you start calling them out for their degeneracy they're doing now. Now, since we've cleared up all of that, it's time to address the Homotopia server situation head on, because this seems to be a point many people are so uneducated about, hence why there's so many lies spread about it and about my culpability in the situation. Keep in mind, what I'll be using as a script and a backbone to for this video is a defense document I had made, in which XDGAMER and his associates consistently report and get taken down, because they cannot handle the truth coming out. This is just proof of them attempting to silence me, so let's begin. This part of the document has member testimony and full proof in order to debunk the false narratives pushed by XDGAMER and his bad actor associates who are spreading libel slander against me with no proof whatsoever. XDGAMER's document states, Homotopia was a Discord server owned by Parlo under the Cami Femboy account. The server had clear sexual undertones, and most conversations were sexual in nature, which was a lie. This included discussing sexual experiences, sexual kinks, and making sexual comments to other members, and sending nude images to other members. I never saw that happening, so that's another lie. The rules for the Discord stated nobody under the age of 16 was allowed. That's a lie. This means Parlo was directly allowing underage individuals to be exposed to illicit content. Another massive lie. Even worse, this rule was ignored as some of the most active members were openly as young as 15 years old. This was another lie. He's just trying to warp it something it wasn't. XDGAMER, who is a horrible person who we have discussed earlier, desperately tries to push a narrative that Homotopia was a not safe for work server in which allowed minors to bypass an age verification and allowed them to post explicit content. This is a lie. The server was originally set up as a mutual/follower safe for work Discord server under my safe for work account for people who most were literally the same age as me, the youngest being like 2 years younger than me, Pyro, who was the 15-year-old who most people always mention, and he was literally about to turn 16 as of June. The server had multiple very active moderators and swiftly banned bad actors from the server if they explicitly violated a rule. Many members can attest we had a stringent anti-pedophile and doxing rule, hence why XDGAMER was banned from the server almost instantly. This server was originally established to siphon supporters from my main Twitter account to a new server, like a hangout area, in case of XDGAMER actually finding the main Twitter account and false reporting it, getting it taken down via Twitter, because Twitter would always ban my accounts at the time due to ban evasion. Like literally there's a bunch of accounts which are logged, banning them all randomly for ban evasion because they all went under the same IP. Basically, this server would ensure that connections were maintained and that influence could be preserved when a new account was made, so I can ping everyone saying, oh look, I've got a new Twitter account. So basically it was just me planning for the worst case scenario. Basically it was so I could still maintain in contact with my friends and mutuals. One of the mutuals, in fact, I even met up with from Twitter. Eventually, XDGAMER found the server, and so did Taps. And for those who don't know Taps used to be working with Sydiced in the doxing ring called Zones, and they were both effectively and promptly banned. Taps, as of now, has actually cut ties with Sydiced and XDGAMER to my current knowledge, and as you can see here, here's a screenshot of XDGAMER getting banned. Additionally, XDGAMER claims how the server was 16+, and brought up how there were 15-year-olds allowed in the server, despite the fact that the server was actually 15+, which many members can actually attest to. And here's one of these testimonies right here with someone establishing that. So this was another deliberate mischaracterization in which XDGAMER establishes, trying to shift the narrative and make it look like this server didn't even adhere to its own rules, and that we openly let younger people in than the age range presented on the rules, and to also state how this was a not safe for work server, when in reality it was a safe for work server, and I had directly campaigned not to introduce any not safe for work channels in the server. So this is all just a flat out lie presented by him in order to vindicate me and excuse his relentless illegal harassment in which he subjected me and others to for over 12 months. Had XDGAMER essentially even looked at the rules in which was specified, he would have found out the server was not safe for work, and that he had essentially lied and perpetuated a false and slanderous narrative. The age allowed was 15+, because one of the moderators, who was called Pyro, was 15 turning 16 in June, and we will go over the rules later on because there's a lot to cover right now. But keep in mind, we lowered the age allowance because the propagation of not safe for work content in the server was against the rules anyway, and therefore wasn't something that would have affected the judgment of lowering the age. It was just because one of our moderators was in the server turning 16 very soon, and we didn't want to be seen as violating our own rules. There was nothing malicious behind it. If you truly focus on that paragraph, you'll see the amount of blatant manipulation and lies and deceit is actually being slammed into that. Keep in mind, in these testimonies I show, it is literally from users who are active in the server. Had I said any BS or purported a false narrative, they would have been upfront and admitted that I lied. However, I simply have not been lying. The people who actually believe these false narratives against me were never actually part of this server, so cannot speak as for what happened. So I have no idea how these testimonies hold no validity when it is literally from people who were active in that server and had saw what have transpired and happened. And as you can see here, there's a screenshot of me stating, "True. Can you attest the server was not a not safe for work server in which harbored sexualized images of minors?" And then this person states, "What is the person even talking about? I can attest that the server was not safe for work. No one posted not safe for work stuff." Then another screenshot here I state to Pyro, "Alright, and you can attest too that the server wasn't not safe for work." And he states, And then I state here, because there was a rule stating it wasn't, and Pyro states, "Yeah, there was a gay joke here and there, but that was about it." Pyro and other members can literally attest to the fact that there was a rule specifically stating that not safe for work content was not allowed. We literally showed Discord terms of services in which state that. If you ignore that, then you're just ignoring the rules, you're a moron. XDGAMER knew this and deliberately did not establish this in order to vindicate my image and make the server appear to be Jeffrey Epstein's island. In another screenshot here I state, "The doxer has made a Google document basically claiming how Homotopia was a not safe for work Discord server in which allowed sexualized images of minors and porn in the server. Can you attest that the server was not safe for work and it was strictly against the rules to post such material?" And then Belizebub says, "It was, yes, against the rules to post not safe for work content on it. Not safe for work channel was made by day, like day one, because it made the channel on the first day, but it was deleted an hour later, because there's no reason to have such a thing in a Discord server full of minors, and Day was an alleged pedophile who we literally banned. I removed the not safe for work channel. Why would it be a not safe for work server if we delete not safe for work channels and it remains safe for work? Like, you see, this narrative isn't working here." And I state to Jackie Freeze, "By the way, can you attest that the server was not a not safe for work channel and that it was strictly against the rules to post not safe for work content?" And then they state, "Absolutely." Anyway, XDGAMER's document continues by stating, "Parlo suspiciously purged all messages sent by him on the server multiple times. This was done before and after the server was discovered. There are no archives of any messages sent by Parlo before the server was discovered." Another point XDGAMER claims is that I systematically purged my DMs to avoid being caught, when I literally had nothing to hide. Many members of the server know I was going through mental troubles at that time, especially complicated by the malevolent actions of XDGAMER literally, and that I had only ever used Homotopia specifically to vent, as the server also had a vent channel to encourage other members to be very open about their problems and mental struggles, so we could cultivate a less depressing community and help those who needed support. Of course, XDGAMER, being the bastion of truth and morality he always is, glossed over this and had no proof to directly convict me of any slanderous claims or prove any of my culpability he's trying to present in this document, so therefore he had to make the insinuation that I must have been purging proof when this couldn't be further from the case. I show a screenshot here. "Can you attest that I wasn't active in the server at all?" Pyro, who's literally a very active moderator as per even the screenshots in XDGAMER's document, so if anyone can attest to anything, it's this guy, literally states, "Yes, I can. I can attest that every message you deleted was you venting too. I had contacted mutuals present in that server about my mental struggles and the ongoing harassment this doxer had subjected me to, and I often had bipolar spouts where I ranted then mass deleted my messages because I didn't want to look too depressed to be around. When you make these embarrassing messages and you're like, oh, I can't have these around after you've had a mental breakdown, so you delete them. That's what was happening. Even mutuals in the old RYC server I had at the exact same time period as what was happening on my Cami alias can also attest that I literally did this. Many such situations I expressed my mental anguish about involved relationships, self-harm, and family problems." And here someone states, "Yo, is there an age limit on your server? Cause I know Cam's is 16. And then I state, "Maybe 15 youngest. Haven't been active on this account in a while, lol, sorry. Have an insane doxer cyberstalking me right now. I'm taking measures on other accounts to mitigate damage to this account, Twitch, and Discord server." And the person replies to my doxer problem with, "Ooh." I had literally contacted mutuals about my inactivity as shown by that screenshot, and many knew that I was barely present in the server at all, with memes being made about how inactive I even was in it. And you can see here, I established the minimum age present in the server. as well as solidifying my statement claiming my inactivity was literally due to XDGAMER's harassment, which is once again the truth. My narratives are literally supported by multiple screenshots, literally proving my point. In another screenshot here, one of my mutuals is saying, "How's the stalker situation hanging?" referring to XDGAMER, and they say again, "Hey man, you okay? Saw what you said in rants, and you don't have to tell me anything in detail. I just get how you feel, and if you want to vent or whatever, I'm here. I won't judge you or anything. Hey man, if you leave, which you shouldn't, maybe Belzy's better to own it," and then I state why. Anyway, as you can see, I continued to be offline for an extensive period of time. I literally wouldn't reply to most messages, and you could say I was pretty negligent with the continuation of the server. This is why on my Parlo account, I'm way more reliant on other people, such as my trusted moderation team, who are more capable than me at owning a server, and less mentally exhausted than me, to continue establishing and enforcing rules and regulations onto my current server. And as you can see as well, my anonymous mutual, who I don't want to put on blast like XDGAMER loves to do in his documents, literally doing much more damage to the quote-unquote people he's trying to push as victims, basically saw my suicidal rant about how I wanted to change the ownership to someone else, as I didn't feel like I was a good owner. I was barely active and was way too depressive when I was. So we literally were talking about, oh, maybe Belzy should be the owner of the server, you know, as per the screenshots I'm showing here in the chat logs. Then in another screenshot here, I state, "I wasn't online yesterday," and they state, "I know, that's what the admins are for," and then I do these stupid faces, and then this person claims, "Cam, are you gonna be okay?" And I state, "No." And then Pyro states here, "I wonder why this fine gentleman got banned," and then someone being racist and stuff, and then they got banned, and I started laughing at that. This just proves that the server mods banned people who engaged in rude, bigoted, or bad behavior, and that the establishment that this server was very active and that was a safe haven for bad moderation is a complete lie and deliberate mischaracterization. XDGAMER basically tries to prove this with deliberately cherry-picked screenshots to try and villainize and paint this server to be worse than it actually was. He shows like 5 or 10 screenshots out of like probably thousands of messages on the server to try and pin a narrative that it had awful moderation, even though these moderators, including Nattie, Forsyth as well, were banning tons of people who were literally acting as a threat to the server. And in another screenshot here I state, "Also, can you attest that there were many moderators in the server and that many pedophiles or bad actors were sufficiently banned if they posed a threat to a member's well-being?" Pyro, who's literally active in the server, states there were 5 admins and 4 mods. Anyone who was found to be malicious was banned very quickly. And then here's another screenshot of me stating on the 19th of May, "There is a mentally insane, doxing, CP possessing pedophile SWAT mass reporter after me, and I need to go down on the low right now, so my Twitter doesn't die by this person reporting me. Keep this dead secret though, I fear they're spying on me." And Empire says, "Don't worry Cam, this secret goes no further. As always, you can talk to me about just about anything." I even made it clear I was going to be majorly inactive on the account due to fears of XDGAMER spying on my account and stalking me, in which 6 days later my fear was revealed. Also, what I highlighted in red literally strengthens my point about the server was made to literally reorganize my following if my Twitter account literally got mass reported and taken down by XDGAMER if he did find it, in which they tried to do, but I used a VPN to basically mask my IP address so Twitter couldn't ban me for ban evasion. And in this other screenshot here on the 15th, I think literally a day after the server was created on the 14th, I state to this person, "I'll demote Day and give you admin, you ban Day." And this is just more proof about the strong stance me and the moderation team established to people violating the rules of the server. Day was extremely weird, and we banned them because they were a threat to the people in our server, and Day was one of the first admins of the server. As you can see here, I give someone who I trusted admin to ban that person, like we had moderation on the server. Any inclination that we didn't have moderation on the server is a complete and utter lie. And also in this screenshot here, you can see on the 14th, that's when the server was created. You can see the server link there. Keep in mind, this server was literally established on May the 14th, and for the majority of those days, except for maybe 1 or 2, I was completely inactive in the server and barely said anything. I presided over my other accounts and left the moderation in the hands of my mutuals, who effectively banned bad actors from the server. Anyway, XDGAMER's document continues by stating, "Pornography and suggestive photos were often posted on this server. No channels were marked as NSFW, or maybe because none were. This was so that any minors with a Discord account set as underage could still access all these channels. There was a channel named IRL Media, in which was dedicated for members to post photos of themselves. This was generally used by members to post revealing or suggestive photos. This included members who were underage. The legality of these images is questionable. No channels were marked as not safe for work, as the server was not safe for work, and it was against the rules to post porn on the server, as literally established earlier. XDGAMER glossed over this fact, and it wouldn't be like he abided by that idealism anyway, considering he's literally posted porn and gore to minors before. Also, he literally cherry-picked screenshots from the server, like 20 out of the thousands of messages sent there, as an illogical attempt at painting a narrative that the server was a cesspool of NSFW content, when in reality, every time I joined the server, I saw no such thing. Why would I log in with the cam account and openly preside over a server that I can actively see posting not safe for work or what XDGAMER was claiming was posted? Especially when I even knew he could be possibly stalking that account. Why would I just allow all of that stuff to be posted? It's because it's all untrue. Especially when I even knew that he was stalking my account. If I had that paranoia, why would I kept all of that stuff up? Like, even my paranoia was literally proved correct. The legality of the images is not questionable because they weren't illegal. There was no CP. Many of the members in the server can even attest to this. XDGAMER purposely censored the images to make them look worse than they actually were in an attempt to spin a narrative that the server hosted inappropriate images of children, despite the fact that CP was literally banned from the server as any other normal server would enforce. And then here in the screenshot, and can you attest that CP wasn't allowed in the server because morals think that it was Jeffrey Epstein's island? And then Pyro states, the frick? CP wasn't allowed. Here XDGAMER says, file is 1.5 gigabytes and has NSFW content. Any revealing or suggestive photos involving minors have been removed. Like, what is this? Any revealing or suggestive photos involving minors have been removed? So if XDGAMER is trying to spin a narrative that the legality of the images is quote-unquote questionable, why did he have the images stored on his hard drive to begin with when he downloaded all of these logs? So his logic essentially contradicts his own statement here, but what's even more telling is how he keeps shifting the goalpost and arguing the semantics game here with certain words, such as inappropriate and suggestive and softcore and all of these words in which can just move the goalpost back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like, try to cling on to one narrative here, XDGAMER, because you're very inconsistent. But then again, if you did preside over this content in which you're blatantly over-exaggerating the extent of, it wouldn't be the worst image you actually have possession of, considering this person, XDGAMER, literally posted CP of Nat twice, and literally posted my uncensored SH images from when I was literally 16 years old. Like, great content to have on your computer there, and as you can see here, there's a screenshot stating, the point is you posted CP, and XDGAMER says, so what? And he says this is cropped out of context. Well, the full context is him literally saying, so what, given the context? You still posted it. That's illegal. Like, what you trying to argue here? Anyway, we have a screenshot from I think one of the last announcements on the server, stating, report this account. They're the doxer that's been sending Cam CP and death threats, and now they're trying to make everyone in the server look bad by taking things out of context, unnecessarily blurring images and the like. Literally, they said, they themselves have stated, unnecessarily blurring images. So as you can see here, other members can literally attest to the unnecessary blurring of images, in which is purposely established to try and push the false narrative that the images were worse than they actually were. XDGAMER tries to push the motive that Pyro's abdominal progress pictures were inappropriate when he literally does exercise progress pictures because he goes to the gym a lot. I mean, this is the extent of lying that XDGAMER subjects people to, in order to try and control the narrative. And this is followed by another screenshot of Pyro stating, the image XDGAMER always likes to bring up was a standard thigh picture which he couldn't get to look good from any angle except one that included the bulge. However, he naturally censored it by covering the entire region with his hand, and that the bulge wasn't even there in the original picture. So there was absolutely nothing in the image that made it bad whatsoever, and Pyro literally claims, no. Like, I didn't even see the image, I wasn't active in the server, and had I known that any of that was being happening, that would have stopped immediately. However, the mischaracterization of the situation to make it sound 10 million times worse than it actually was, to try and make me look like a terrible person, I'm not gonna stand. That's absolutely abhorrent, and I do not stand for that in the slightest. This is just more proof that XDGAMER essentially over-exaggerated the situation, as Sydiced has done in similar situations, to try and demonize people for their own personal benefit. Keep in mind too, the people who were active in this server and knew me by the name Cammy and my Cammy alias now know that I'm literally Parlo. You would have thought for the 4 months that they have known this, from June to October, literally right now, they would have come out at any period of time to state that I did anything wrong or bad to them or lied. However, they all support the narrative that this XDGAMER person's a liar. Here's another screenshot stating, alright, and you saw no inappropriate images of minors in the server, and Pyro states none. Oh wow, just look at that. Actual members of the server who were active, who can attest that XDGAMER lied about the situation in order to get attention and clout and drama on Twitter for the 600th time. Isn't that actually crazy? In conclusion, the server was not a not safe for work Discord server. It was a safe for work server in which I was barely active in throughout its tenure. The establishment that I facilitated a minor not safe for work Discord server is an utter lie. At best misinformed, and at worst downright slanderous and libel. At worst, this situation shows how I was a lazy, non-active server owner, as if this was any new information. XDGAMER's document continues by stating, friend of Parlo and alleged pedophile Nattie Forsyth was a moderator for the server. Nattie has continued to show no improvement and posted suggestive photos on the server full of minors. This comes only a few months after the Roblox YouTuber attempted to launch an OnlyFans account and promote their not safe for work Twitter to their underage fans. Parlo still associates with Nattie Forsyth despite this, acting as if I didn't completely lambaste her for that situation in private for multiple hours. This guy has no idea what is actually going on behind the scenes and attempts to speak on something he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. The server was deleted by Parlo soon after it was discovered. Parlo is a fully grown adult, no I'm not, who understands that running a server like this and exposing minors to such content is inappropriate. Once again, he tries to pin a narrative that I was fully complicit in knowing all of this that was happening in the server, even though I've proved multiple times now that I wasn't. Parlo's called out others for similar behavior and he should be held accountable for his actions. That's another lie. I've never called out someone for this, for a situation that's like this. Anyway, I asked for Nattie Forsyth's response regarding the situation, and this is what she has to say about it. So this is like a disjointed chapter to this video.
This is Nattie, and I've been offered a platform in this document to respond to the Homotopia situation. From my perspective, Homotopia was a server made for followers of Parlo's alternative account, then known as Cami Fanboy. The username was since stolen by XDGAMER, and active accounts are not currently Parlo. But this account was called Cami Fanboy and featured suggestive images of Parlo, with him showing thighs in various fanboy attire, somewhere he'd be lifting a shirt up and stuff like that. The replies were all thirsting over Parlo and were pretty sexually charged. This lewd or suggestive account was in no way tied to Parlo's main Roblox YouTube persona, as he never shown his face as Parlo and also went on the Cami Fanboy. The only reason anyone even knows about this being Parlo is because child porn enthusiast XDGAMER went out of his way to make the connection, knowingly promoting this lewd account to his young Roblox audience, as well as even posting the lewds directly himself publicly across multiple Twitter accounts. When joining Homotopia, I was given no actual introduction to the server, but when I joined I saw flirtatious chat messages and selfies people had taken, with some of it being people posting their workout progress pictures whilst working towards a femboy body. Essentially what I mean by this is that the most that got posted were people's stomachs or waists, or pictures of them in various femboy outfits. The notion that people were posting nudes is a complete lie, and XD went out of his way to over-censor his screenshots of what users were posting in order for him to be able to say that those images or whatever he wants them to be, in an effort to make Parlo to have been running some kind of CP ring. Parlo's intentions with Homotopia were that it was a hangout server, not a server for flirtatious discussion. Although actual porn/NSFW was never posted, people were overly abusing the workout progress reasoning to the point where upon joining the server, it is very easy to get the impression that it was a lewd server. I also believe other users may have gotten this impression as well, leading to a snowball effect of degeneracy building, leading to unintended use of the server as it wasn't for that purpose. I was made mod for the server after having gotten a few people banned by forwarding those people to Parlo, as I was concerned they were too young to be in this environment. Parlo banned them, and then I wanted mod so I could ban anyone I saw that seemed under 18 without having to go to Parlo about it. I saw this to be a problem that was small, and I thought by checking the server every now and then for anyone that was under 18 and banning them, I was doing Parlo a favor, because obviously I didn't want his server to have that kind of content in it and for him to get in any kind of trouble over that. But I was not very active in the server whatsoever. I spent maybe an hour tops combined across multiple days. I was only in the server for a couple of days or so, and as stated had no proper introduction to the server, although it was also my fault I hadn't checked the server rules. I had posted my stomach with the top of my hips showing to the server, as I had been working out and wanted to see if people thought I was slim or not. It was comparable to content already being posted on the server by some people. Shortly afterwards, XDGAMER posted a screenshot to Twitter attacking Parlo for running a CP server. The tweet featured a screenshot of what I had posted, as well as a screenshot of the server's rules, and this was my first time seeing those rules. The rules stated that people from 15 to people in their 20s were allowed on the server, and it later turned out the oldest person in the server, who joined from having been following Parlo's Twitter account, was reportedly around the age of 45. I was on call with Parlo and others at the time, and I panicked and shouted at Parlo Parlo to delete the server upon seeing that tweet with those rules, asking why those rules were what they were for a fanboy lewd server, and it was here where I was told it was supposed to be a hangout. And it made sense to me that the server had just been overrun by bad actors, creating such an environment which only had even more people post similar things. Although again, there was never any nudity sent by anyone, as XD falsely claimed. In his initial call-out post on Twitter, which was deleted after people noticed discrepancies in his archive of the server and his screenshots of it on Twitter, such as the rules being wrote by an entirely different person in his archive, as well as stating different rules entirely. Homotopia was a server that shouldn't have been a thing, or if it was going to be a thing, it should have been a better and more actively run server with better moderation, instead of people who only check the server for about 2 minutes a day, as I did. And I also never really saw any of the mods there being active, but maybe they were when I was not active. But whenever I would check the server, they were not active whatsoever. I was just thinking I was helping by banning anyone that seemed they were too young to be there, and some of the people I banned, they hadn't even spoken in the chat, with their profile information being enough to ban them. Everyone in hindsight agrees it was a bad server, but it is absolutely being twisted.
Nat asked for mod to sufficiently moderate the server and ensure no not safe for work was posted. Once I found out she posted lewds on the server once XDGAMER leaked the image, it became one of the contributing factors along with other situations that made me dissolve partial ties. However, she plans on making large responses to these propagating situations, because I believe I was wrong in my original judgment to her, for example in Jackery's DMs, as she claims she didn't read the rules in which specified it was a safe for work server and the age ranges. Once again, not the first time she didn't see the age, and I have no proof indicating that she, was lying. And then I show proof here, like, well, after the May situation, we kind of did dissolve ties. So someone at one time tried to make another document trying to prove culpability in my involvement in the Homotopia situation. This makes Parlo a crime partner for housing a pedophile in his Discord server, and he is a proven liar, by stating, worst part is you let a confirmed pedophile, Nattie Forsyth, in your Homotopia Discord server and let him talk to minors, in which could have turned out very badly, and yet you still keep Nattie with a special role in your main Discord server. Now, people try and poke inconsistencies in the situation to try and claim that Nat is a confirmed pedophile. This is a slanderous lie. It was never confirmed, and via a police report after the police have searched all her socials and computer images for literally 8 months consistently, the situation was deemed inconclusive and they have negated her of any culpability in that situation. And then they try and claim I was a crime partner for housing a pedophile in a Discord server. A crime partner? This person really has no idea what he's talking about. A crime partner of what? If Nat had been confirmed as a pedophile, why not show proof confirming the assumptions? Then they state that this Homotopia situation could have turned out very badly, but we took extensive measures after the whole situation was out that, it's time to close down the server, because obviously my envisionments for the server never really came out to fruition. And this is obviously just more theoretical strawmanning and whataboutism. She didn't groom anyone in this server, and the insinuation that something bad could have happened is just unsubstantiated and just included to paint the narrative that it could have been worse than it actually was, and just more wordplay and manipulation. Any bad actors present in the server were actually promptly banned, and Nat even banned weirdos from coming into the server who were older than the age limit present, as she literally consulted about me of this in DMs during August when we were going over this situation in its entirety again. Now, obviously referring to the screenshot earlier, XDGAMER claims I'm a fully grown adult, despite the fact that adult cognitive ability does not fully develop until the age of 25, and that I'd literally just turned 18 less than 3 weeks prior to the incident. The inclination that I was a fully grown adult is a lie, and I had never called out any other user for a similar incident to this like he tries to claim I did. This just shows a blatant example of XDGAMER formulating a strawman hypocrisy argument that just did not hit. Additionally, the incorporation of the idea that I was a fully grown adult is enforced to directly clash with the point that minors were present in the Safe for Work Discord server to try and spin a narrative that I was a pedophile. This obviously makes zero sense, as the age gaps present in the server were less than 3 years, and were 2 years that is, even if I did make any immoral contact as such, in which I did not. ICD-10 literally states that in order for someone to be literally classified as a pedophile, they need to be at least 16 years old and have at least a 5-year older age gap than them. As stated here by ICD-10, the legal definition and classification for someone to be a pedophile is they have to be above the age of 16 years of age and have a 5-year age gap, and that obviously does not fit with the situation at all. I literally didn't do anything bad with these people, and there was no 5-year age gap present. It was literally like 2, and that obviously just does not fit with the situation. None of this stuff is fitting into anything proving I am I'm culpable in being a pedophile. The cherry picking of the screenshots from the server was made to spin a narrative that the server was worse than it actually was. I can assure with the time and out of context screenshotting talent XDGAMER has cultivated, I could do this to any other Discord server and spin the narrative as well as he has in regard to the comments made on the server. Even other server members attested to how XDGAMER essentially just picked out the worst messages to try and make the server look absolutely horrible. Yet again, it's just more blatant manipulation, and this has happened to my server as well multiple times. They take like one screenshot and they're like, oh, Parlo's server is entirely terrible, it needs to be taken down. XDGAMER is a complete hypocrite who preaches against the same things he can actively be seen doing. He'll attempt to hide under the guise of vigilantism as a way of justifying his immoral and illegal actions, whereas in reality, no one should take what this person says seriously whatsoever. Additionally, some of my mutuals from the Parlo alias were in this server too. I wasn't hiding from any public view, it is a publicly available community server. If the server was as bad as it's trying to be pushed out as, my mutuals from my Parlo alias would have come to me and would have told me, hey, this server's really bad, you might have to do something about this. The major use of censoring in the document made the images seem to be worse than they actually were. Even other members such as admins on the server can attest to this. This is often a great tactic utilized by people such as XDGAMER. The images in which were allowed were not safe for work and were either cropped, or XDGAMER just utilized a big black box and slammed it over the images to then lie and insinuate the uncensored image was much worse than it truly was. For example, I have Alvin and the Chipmunks here, and oh look, I've put a black box over the entire image now, and I can claim that's like a dead body is under there, or I can claim that's something illegal there. Now the image has been quote unquote censored, so anyone can just warp the narrative to try and claim that the images is not safe for work now, because the original image has purposely not been made apparent, and you're just left in ambiguity now, like what's behind a black box, I wonder. The person who made the document uses this as an excuse to slander me and calls me a pedophile. This person operates multiple alternative accounts, acting like different people to make it look like he has numerous people working for him and believing his narratives. Tries to latch on the situation to try and bolster the narrative that Parlo is a pedophile, which I'm not, and I've debunked this multiple times. Also, I've got a testament from Nat under the Bloxitron alias. As you can see here, here's a testament from Bloxitron, and basically which goes over the situation, basically highlighting and cementing the point we've aforementioned in the document. And as I state here, Nat, who was on another alias trying to claim that they weren't Nat at the time, attested that the server was not advertised as a not safe for work server. However, that bad actors nitpicked certain aspects from the server, such as a few screenshots from the channels, and attempted to push a false narrative that it was worse than it actually was. Keep in mind, the server had hundreds of messages, but only 40 screenshots were selected to push a narrative that it was entirely filled with sexual degeneracy. The server, as specified by them, was not a pornographic server, however should have been more appropriately moderated. The insinuation that the server was explicitly a not safe for work server too is debunked when considering the definition in which constitutes something to be a not safe for work server. As you can see here, heavy nudity, or something containing nudity, explicit sexual themes, that wasn't what was going on with the server. So that just debunks that narrative entirely. Now this, coupled in with the fact that a not safe for work channel was banned literally 1 hour after the server creation, shows how the intent of the creation of the server, by what I had stated, was intended to be a safe for work hangout server and not pornographic in any way. As here, this is a screenshot of what XDGAMER is trying to claim was a lie, because I never said in the rules, oh look, he never specified that not safe for work wasn't allowed in the server. Well, if you actually use your eyes, we literally promote the Discord community guidelines link on our rule page. As you can see literally right here, Discord community guidelines were apparent in the server rules, and we literally have on rule 4, follow Discord's policies, and do not share any content portraying or promoting illegal behavior. These are literally 2 rules in one. Follow Discord policies. And if you look at Discord's policies in the Discord guidelines, in which we literally have on the rules page, there's multiple bullet points here stating, if you are under the age of 18, do not engage in sexual conduct, do not engage in sexual conduct or any conduct that puts your online or physical safety at risk. Another one here, do not solicit sexual content or engage in any sexual conduct, grooming with anyone under the age of 18. And then here's another one, do not make sexually explicit content available to anyone under the age of 18. XDGAMER, the person who uses my father's name to make this document, tries to claim that there were no rules to establish how the server was not safe for work and was safe for work, and then he tries to claim that I was lying about the entire situation. Well, one revised check on the rules, and you can see rule 4 states follow Discord's policies, and we link Discord's TOS. We have a screenshot here. It literally states here in this screenshot, do not make sexually explicit content available to anyone under the age of 18. After 1 hour of the server's creation, a moderator who was banned called Day, who was literally preying on people. We literally got banned, by the way, made a not safe for work channel, which was promptly deleted after I told them that this was a safe for work server for like the 500th time again. Why would I delete a not safe for work channel if the server was originally intended to be a not safe for work server? The narrative XDGAMER attempts to go by is extremely misinformed and false here. He cannot come up with any logical rebuttal. Additionally, the person who made the rules, Day, as I just stated there, was banned from the server due to inappropriate actions on and off the server with the 14-year-old called Pyro. Many as well of the messages used to incriminate the server are of users, for example, with a white name, showing how they were literally banned after the logs were given, and according to the mod team, many members were actually banned for bad behavior, and we literally had a policy: anyone who came into the server without a profile picture was auto-banned because we knew they were an adult. We wanted the server to contain people who were close of age and it to be a safe for work hangout server. That isn't a lie, that is literally true. Keep in mind, one of the admins, as we've stated multiple times now, Pyro, was 15 turning 16 in June. They were literally 2 years, 1 month younger than me. The server was originally 16 plus, but for Pyro to be allowed in a hangout server and for us not to be inconsistent with our rules and regulations in the server, we moved it to 15 plus. Another person who was 15 to my knowledge joined the server, however once again I wasn't active, and no, I never interacted with them. I had no idea who they were. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I'm innocent when it comes to this server. I did own it and I should have entrusted more capable moderators. They were all close in age and were typically more immature when it came to jobs like this as everyone else their age is. The server did have a very high member to moderator ratio, I believe as stated by Pyro, 5 admins to 4 mods, and the server had like 70 people or less. However, I should have been more active and or should have never made the server in the first place, and I have made apologies and shown regret for having that server that aided a pretty degenerate pipeline, in which was originally intended to be a hangout server, but degenerated into something I wish my name was never interlinked to. If I could, I would have changed the past and stopped myself from doing what I did, but I can't. But if that isn't taking accountability for my actions and being regretful of my decisions, I don't know what is. This is a horrible stain, and I wish to unmuddy the waters and state that I should have been more active and a better owner in this situation, and for that I'm sorry. But like, if anyone's trying to say I'm not being regretful of my actions here, that's a straight up lie. Like, I wish this never happened. But let's not try and weaponize minors in this situation as some exposal point. These are real people interlocked in this situation, almost being degraded and dehumanized by users whose sole purpose is to make others a living hell, like XDGAMER. These are real people, and they're not being treated as real people. They're being treated as pawns on a chessboard to try and one up against the other person. And their testimonies in this document are being shrugged off as, oh, he's just biased again, he's just biased, he's just supporting Parlo here, so we're not going to listen to him. Even though they literally gain no benefit from lying. They were in the server. If anyone understands what was happening in the server, it's these people who were active in the server at the time, not some rando who has some like 1-year-old vendetta against me and is just trying to lie his way into the situation and weasel and misconstrue any point he literally can to try and manipulate people. I've made amends with Gone Fishing too, and I've been very public about it. We've discussed in length in a Discord call for many hours about everything, and we have no drama anymore. I respect him as a content creator, and although he did say I never addressed this situation on the main channel, I did in my LoopedQ single response video, but I do admit the response was pretty lackluster and bad since it was an excerpt from my stream and I didn't really want to bore my viewers, so I rushed through the document as I thought people would just take the time to read my response anyway, and I get that. That's why I've made this video, and I don't know how long this video is. It could be like an hour or something, but yeah, this is my entire response. If needs be, I can make a part 2, but my voice is dying right now. Anyway, this video acts as a basically part 2 to the series of debunking the lies and misinformation spread about me. Obviously, I'm not a pedophile, and this situation was spread by people far worse than me to try and maliciously warp the situation into something it wasn't. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. And also, I know this video is going to get tons of reports anyway, so this video is not intended for hate, harassment, or cyberbullying or anything like that. This video adheres to YouTube's guidelines and is an educational and informative video thoroughly explaining the entire situation and informing everyone of the truth. The PDF file to the document is available in my server because XDGAMER and his goons keep mass false reporting my response document to try and silence me in the propagation of the truth. But hopefully that's everything I need to say about this situation, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. So this will act as a final segment in this response video. LoopedQ purported once again more false narratives and cherry-picked aspects of my response video in his newest hit piece video on me, basically using bad faith points to try his hardest to use wordplay semantics to basically insinuate to the viewers that I'm someone who can't be trusted around kids. Here's a clip of him saying saying that.
And the fact that Parlo ever created this server in the first place should be a reason to keep your kids away from him.
And basically in his video description as well, he tries to use video tags to make my name synonymous with the term groomer and predator, while desperately trying to state in the video, oh, I wasn't claiming he actually was one.
Of course, not saying that this was any type of grooming or predator actions, and the fact that Parlo ever created this server in the first place should be a reason to keep your kids away from him.
But then, once again, using very manipulative, bad faith wording, trying to claim that I was 18 who owned a disgusting, degenerate underage Discord server, and doesn't even mention whatsoever that I was completely inactive in it. He doesn't actually even bother addressing most of the points I made in my original aforementioned response video. My video is 50 minutes long and shows proof proving I had no culpability in it whatsoever. I had no idea what was being posted, and yet he completely selectively obfuscates this in order to try and play a certain narrative to his viewers, because he is a horrible manipulator and someone who should not be trusted with a platform.
Now, before I even start this video, I'm gonna go ahead and mention that he's not a predator or a groomer. He is literally just disgusting.
Disgusting? I mean, if anyone here is a degenerate, I think it's you with these Roblox pornographic thumbnails that he's continued to purport till this day, despite the fact that, oh, he's probably going to use that, oh, I did it 2 years ago. Bro, I changed since then. You're still doing it, doing these weird, disgusting thumbnails. And you're also renowned for purporting flamingos lewds in your thumbnail with trashy blurring, and or making a whole video dedicated to some guy's random nudes, in which you then try to interject flamingo into the situation for views, trying to clickbait his name in it. Your whole channel is based off of milking people for views. You did 50 videos on flamingo, and even you did 30 videos on Scrimzox in the Forex. Literally years after the allegations came out, when you desperately tried to virtue signal against them and me in this video. Is it crazy how hypocritical he is? And also, this is the same guy who thinks it's perfectly viable to screenshot, or even better, download an entire instance of CP if you're exposing someone else for having it. But oh yes, his excuse and response is, oh, well, I'm actually going to be downloading it to show the police. So that instance is entirely acceptable, right guys? Oh wait, no. The police will also prosecute you for having it too on your hard drive. It is a completely brain dead, like, take this guy had, and he got angry when I called it out. So I have no idea why someone with these brain dead takes is regarded on such a high pedestal when he's literally a chronic manipulator and someone who makes the most cancerous content I've ever had the displeasure of viewing. I even respected this guy up until the point where he literally tried to, like, rekindle fire and drama with me yet again. I banned him from my Discord server because he tried to start all the time.
Who Parlo is, he's a Roblox commentary YouTuber with over 300,000 subscribers, and he's a known affiliate and still on talking terms with the most creepy Roblox YouTuber, or one of the most creepy, Nattie Forsyth.
Now his main contention point here is that I'm on talking terms with Nattie Forsyth, and there is a video going into detail on my opinion regarding her on a Trash Talk video episode which is over 2 hours long. You can go watch that and you can see my entire opinion on her. I basically go over how a lot of evidence against her is maliciously constructed to try and warp the narrative that she's some sort of pedophile, and while I 100% believe she's engaged in multiple instances of degeneracy, not even the same people who made a video on her can actually really ever come up with one morsel of evidence to concretely prove that she is a predator. The people who made a video calling her a pedophile actually, in Twitter spaces and stuff, literally admitted, well, we don't have enough evidence to call her as such, and they also made false information claiming Nat sent a picture of their you-know-what to a 12-year-old, which just never happened. And also, why would I ever associate with someone who is a pedophile when I've literally made multiple videos calling those types of people out? I've even encouraged Nat to make a response video, and Nat even intends on making the video, unmuddying the waters regarding her situation and debunking a lot of misinformation. And if you care enough to actually look into my full opinion regarding her, there is a 2-hour-long video about me going into detail about it. Just because I maintain a bridge of contact with someone does not mean I'm complicit in defending what they did in the past, and what they've done many years ago. And keep in mind as well, in private, because I don't say this a lot, I've also called out Nat a lot of times in private, and I've even addressed a lot of situations with her for multiple hours. I'm very well versed in every situation she's been involved in, and then people are trying to claim that I turn a blind eye to all the proof. No, I've seen a lot of proof. I've been consulting her and many other big YouTubers about the situation, getting both sides, getting the accuser's side and getting her side. I'm very well versed in it. And keep in mind, I literally have contact with people who I despise and they despise me. For example, I had contact with XDGAMER XDGAMER at one point I had a contact, with Sydiced I had a contact, with Lisa Gaming Roblox herself. There is a fine line between maintaining contact and defending.
And Parlo's not only defending them, but also giving them a platform on his channel with over 14,000 subscribers.
What she has to say about it. So this is like a disjointed chapter to this video.
This is Nattie, and I've been offered a platform in this document to respond to the Homotopia situation.
So here once again LoopedQ claims I'm defending Nat because I have brought her onto a video basically describing our side of the situation regarding the Homotopia allegations, and somehow this is construed into me defending Nat instead of me giving her a platform to respond on, because people were urging me to get her to try and confront the situation too. So apparently us now being transparent in this situation and me allowing her to combat the allegations head on is now completely disregarded and toned down with wordplay semantics into, well, Parlo is actually defending her, so therefore all his credibility is lost. This is once again more purposeful misinformation purported by LoopedQ and is a complete and utter lie. I also like how he completely cuts out Nat's response to this situation where she defends herself and just uses a few select clips in the video to cultivate some crappy narrative out of it and to try and manipulate his impressionable followers into believing that I'm some like threat to children and that Nattie Forsyth is a confirmed pedophile and that I gave a confirmed pedophile who I knew was a pedophile moderator perms to a server which was apparently not safe for work with some horrific server, which all of that is completely a lie and untrue.
The Homotopia situation.
Before I start though, make sure you guys go ahead and like the video and subscribe with notifications on for more videos talking about different situations in this video.
In this segment as well, I like how he cuts the thing out completely and then goes on to self-promoting his crappy channel in a very serious video like this. So instead of actually debunking anything she stated, all he does is say, well, she did degenerate things in the past, so that invalidates any claims she makes in this video, and then proceeds to change the entire topic.
Unlike Parlo, who released an hour video on his second channel, since of course he doesn't want to cover it on the main, because he knows that people will realize how disgusting and creepy he actually is, so he put it on his second channel, in which only a fraction of his audience saw.
Well, LoopedQ, the video didn't get as much traction as I intended, so I'm actually re-uploading this to my main channel. This whole situation is so easily manipulated by bad actors that I'm actually obligated to kill this entire situation off in this video because I'm tired of lies being spread, and I will not be silenced by manipulators such as yourself who are currently drastically failing to prove any morsel of my culpability in this situation. So this point is completely redundant now. I am uploading this onto my main channel and I have never been silent about this. Lots of people know about this situation. I've been very, very upfront about this even in the Trash Talk podcast. I've talked to Gone Fishing and I've talked to multiple people about this. I'm not trying to hide anything.
But either way, Parlo began this femboy Twitter account, which already sounds extremely suspicious.
Ah yes guys, the femboy stuff is suspicious. You know, self-expressionism is now met with suspicion, and I can sense the upcoming bigotry in this video if this is the kind of wordplay semantics this guy will use. So, femboy? Oh, suspicious? Oh, gay? Oh, yikes, it's very degenerate. It's so stupid.
But it was called Cami Femboy, and on it he posted some pretty suggestive photos. Of course, technically they were safe for work.
Okay, so here LoopedQ states that the images I posted were safe for work but were suggestive. Keep in mind this is a very important quotation that we will be referring to throughout this video. Here he quite literally admits that the account I made was safe for work, in which it literally was. It contained no nudity whatsoever, and this was the only contention point he can actually possibly make in this video. I was never active in the Homotopia server, and the only point he can make is that I own the server, despite the fact that I was so inactive in the server that the topic of making someone else an admin was literally being talked about, and I show proof of this in the response video. But once again, he does not include this in his video whatsoever, because he's maliciously cropping massive parts of my response video out to try and warp a narrative that I'm a disgusting human being, when the Twitter account he's referencing he himself had literally admitted was safe for work. One of the only contention points he can make is a Cami account, in which he literally admits here was safe for work. And literally, I'll put the screenshot up again now because he's decided to hide it from his viewers. Literally, the topic of Beelzebub being admin was literally brought up because I quite literally stated I was so inactive that I didn't feel necessary to own the server.
Obviously, I can't show them, but realize that this was a femboy Twitter account, so you have to imagine what kind of absolutely degenerate photos were posted on this Twitter account.
Degenerate? You yourself literally admitted it was safe for work. Once again, you're using wordplay semantics and manipulation to try and shift the goalpost that I'm some disgusting human being merely because I was wearing effeminate clothes. You literally claim it's safe for work, so where is the contention point here? Degenerate and safe for work, I kinda don't mix in this situation here at all. You're just contradicting yourself now.
But either way, for further context, Parlo turned 18 on May 1st, 2022.
And once again, more proof that this guy does no research into what he says at all. Somehow he gets my birthday wrong. Like, how hard is that to mess up whatsoever? This is just more proof that this guy is not a reliable source of information whatsoever.
And this is necessary for context because most people would be shocked by what Parlo has actually done.
Now here he claims that people will be shocked for what I did, but later in the video, he cannot prove my culpability in the situation whatsoever because I quite literally did nothing wrong, except for the fact that entrust moderators with moderation perms, and I should have been more active in it. I was a negligent server owner. I literally had a server in which I wasn't active in which delved into degeneracy by people who were at most 2 years younger than me, and this guy is trying to claim that I shouldn't be trusted around children, despite the fact that at this time period of me being inactive, I was undergoing literal mental daily breakdowns, and literally had police come over to my house. But nah, LoopedQ just likes to frolic around these points like it's a game of hopscotch. To any viewer who's watching that video and had no idea what he's actually addressing, will actually believe this guy's garbage points, because quite frankly, up until now, I haven't really dumped a massive video debunking everything. But once again, if you want to do more research, make sure to watch this entire video, or watch the Trash Talk podcast video I was on, and also read my response document, because they combat every point of contention that bad faith actors such as LoopedQ are trying to purport. Because come on guys, he isn't claiming that I'm a predator in this video, he's just saying I shouldn't be trusted around kids and I'm 18 being a legal adult, right? He's totally not trying to insinuate anything here.
And the fact that Parlo ever created this server in the first place should be a reason to keep your kids away from him. Now Parlo at this point is probably desensitized honestly to what he has done and why it's so disgusting, because inside of his video he just skims over it like it's something that normal people do.
In my video I skim over everything? Bro, this video was made days after my 50-minute response. How is my 50-minute response skimming over anything? It quite literally addressed every situation head on, and you cannot seem to debunk most of the rebuttals at all that I purport in the video, so you just have to lie and manipulate your viewers and hope they will eat up this daily slop that you consistently throw at them.
But on this Cammy Twitter account, he made a Discord in which it was a 15+ femboy Discord server. Now if you're the average person, you could probably already see what the problem is. Why does an 18-year-old have a 15+ femboy Discord server in the first place?
Well, LoopedQ, I actually explained in my response video if you had actually got the brain cognitivity to understand the other side of the story, which I'm sure you do, but you just selectively don't include in the video. I've proved time and time again that the server was originally intended to be a safe work hangout server, and yet Mr. LoopedQ obfuscated these words to try and once again use the narrative and do narrative shifting and wordplay manipulation to make the situation seem worse than it actually was. And I'd also love to shout out LoopedQ for monetizing this video too, not only virtue signaling in this video, but also getting some dollar bills from slandering my name.
This is not normal, it is 100% degenerate in the first place, and he admits to owning the server.
Keep in mind too, the people who were active in this server and knew me by the name Cammy and my Cammy alias now know that I'm literally Parlo. With this clip, he cut my entire side of the story out and just includes the segment where I said I was Cammy. He doesn't include anything else other than this clip, and he cuts out what I said right after that, where some of my mutuals from the Parlo alias were in this server, so if they saw any widespread sexual degeneracy other than the Garfield situation and I'll address later, they would have contacted me about the severity of the situation, but yet I heard nothing. This server was a public server, people could join, so why is it being twisted like I was obfuscating this server from the public on the day of his creation, when anything and everything on it was easily accessible to everyone, as it was a safe work hangout server, and that was the intention of creating it. That is not a lie.
Now he says, oh, I was a standoff owner or whatever, but that does not change the fact that he owned a 15+ underage femboy server. This is so degenerate.
Okay, so apparently after I proved that I wasn't active in the server, that apparently doesn't change the facts he is purporting. Well, in the video you claim I'm the most disgusting Roblox YouTuber, implying that I have culpability in this situation, and you even called me the worst Roblox YouTuber, apparently implying that I'm worse than Mabucket, Kelligish, or Fave. But here you can't even deny that I wasn't active in the server, only that I own the server and had the owner role. However, when taken into consideration all the rebuttals that I've presented, this guy has absolutely no point whatsoever, and if any viewer was actually well versed and educated in this situation, it'd be so easy to pull back the multiple layers of sloppy manipulation that he's funneling into kids' brains. He deliberately uses more wordplay manipulation because that is the whole point of what this video is based off of. He basically says it was a 15+ femboy underage Discord server, and he uses the word underage in this context to heavily imply something immoral or sexual was caused under the guise of my complicit authority, once again negating the fact that the server was a safe work Discord server made by me in order to maintain ties with mutuals in case XDGAMER goes to my Twitter account and gets it taken down. That's all it was for. It was for social sexualizing. No, not safe for work, no illegal content was ever intended to be posted, and that was against the rules. And when I established in my response for that it was against the rules to post that content, he completely negates this and never puts it in the video.
Now, Parlo in his desensitized mind would have you believe that this was just supposed to be a hangout server for all him and his buds. But as you can see from this screenshot, which has all the context necessary, posted on May 15, 2023, meaning Parlo was 18 and the owner of this server at the time, and you could see this is the type of audience that he had in this Discord server, a 15-year-old Irish certified boy kisser, obviously massively degenerate. The fact that this was meant for introducing yourself, and this dude went in here and said 15-year-old boy kisser and didn't immediately get banned, shows how desensitized and disgusting Parlo actually is.
Now, LoopedQ brings up a wondrous point here, because instead of showing my rebuttals proving that the intention of the server was for it to be a safe work hangout server, he shows one image from an Irish 15-year-old saying that he was a boy kisser, referencing some cringe meme this year that I've made a video on, even venting my frustration because I hate the meme. And that's right, the server, which is jokingly called Homotopia, has a gay person in it, who would have guessed? And apparently them making an off-brand comment is a clear indication that this server was completely intended to host sexualization of minors, when that was never the case in this situation. He shows no other messages in this Discord server other than one cherry-picked message to then build an entire narrative off of. This server was pretty active with users on it, and it was this one message this guy uses to try and say, well, he says boy kisser, so it must be degenerate. This guy's definition of degenerate must be very tinted and subjective then. I can literally sense some homophobia coming from this guy when he's claiming that this guy being a boy kisser is some sort of contention point and is degenerate and is trying to use it as a point against me. This guy uses an exposed video, I think, to try and hide the veil of his bigotry, and I assume he does this in the form of obviously this hit piece video here.
Why is he, an 18-year-old, owning this Discord in the first place? Even if he was an apparent standoffish owner, why is he facilitating this degeneracy in the first place?
Here he actually contradicts himself. He states, well, if you weren't active in the server, why did you then facilitate the content? That's like stating, well, if this Roblox user is dead, why isn't he accepting my friend request? Well, LoopedQ, I get you have a couple screws loose up there, but I was quite literally not active in the server whatsoever, so how did I know what was happening in the server, or as you state here, openly facilitate any content in it whatsoever? You can literally not come up with one cohesive narrative here, so you literally contradicted yourself. How could I openly facilitate anything in the server when I literally wasn't active in it whatsoever and showed proof literally proving that I wasn't active?
And honestly, I think it's pretty disgusting. Of course, not saying that this is any type of grooming or predator actions. I'm just saying, as an 18-year-old, you should not be associating with people and creating servers that are meant for 15-year-old femboys. Because if you ask me, that's quite grotesque and honestly creepy.
Hey guys, I'm not calling Parlo a predator, but I'm just using wordplay manipulation to try and infer that Parlo had any connection to 15-year-olds in the server, and that hence for what you did, you shouldn't be allowed near children. And then, you know, obviously LoopedQ actually harps on my age, obviously trying to prove some blatant age dynamic here, despite the fact that I have covered this in my response video already, which you severely obfuscated from this video, proving how Pyro, who is the main contention point of this entire situation, was literally 2 years and 1 month younger than me. So if anything of what you're assuming did happen, it doesn't prove predatory actions whatsoever, and you so obviously want to prove that narrative without explicitly saying it. As for your obvious, you know, hit piece words in your description, and of course trying to make my actions be synonymous with the word disgusting and degenerate and underage minors. Obviously anyone with a brain knows what you're trying to do, so stop lying.
Keep in mind that this Discord server had over 70 people and was open on a public Twitter account with over 2,000 followers, so pretty much anyone was allowed in this Discord server.
So LoopedQ obviously can't be bothered to fix any captions presented in this video, resulting in multiple embarrassing spelling mistakes, showing how he just rushed this video out. Also, he states this server was public, in which yes it was, we didn't try to hide anything. You were able to access the public chat. If this was as bad as you were trying to claim it was, why was my Parlo mutuals in the server seeing it and in it, and why didn't they have a problem with it? To say that this server was a public server, in which it was, does more of a disservice to your argument than it will ever do to my side of the story.
And there were apparently no NSFW channels.
No channels were marked as not safe for work, as the server was not safe for work, and it was against the rules to post on the server, as literally established earlier.
So you can just imagine what was being posted in the public chat with no type of spoilers.
Well, you once again selectively don't bring up the multiple instances of where the problematic users were banned. The server was intended to be safe for work. The screenshots XDGAMER literally maliciously blurred, I had literally covered in the end of my aforementioned response video. They were literally blurred to make it seem worse than it actually was, but I'll give credit to you. There was one single screenshot, which was the Garfield image, in which did show a bit of bunda, and the person who posted it had a white name, indicating how they were banned. Everyone else in the server had a color-coded name, and if their name was white, I'm more prone to believe they were either banned for degeneracy or left the server themselves. But I never saw someone in the server necessarily with a white name, because everyone else I knew in the server who were active had a colored name, and a mod should have, and most likely in this situation, did actually do something and punish the person. But as far as NSFW goes, Rule 4 clearly literally told users to adhere to Discord's terms of service, and LoopedQ doesn't include this in the video at all. The Discord terms of service being, don't post NSFW to 18-year-olds, and the person who posted the Garfield image, which is literally the only point really they have here to really prove that NSFW was ever posted, was by a banned user.
This is exactly where Nattie Forsyth, a known disgusting person in the community who has been exposed by YouTubers such as Green Cats for literally talking in Discord servers with 12-year-olds and making weird noises on call, if you know what I mean, and even doing a no-clothes sleeping stream to their child audience. Now, Parlo in his video not only defends Nattie Forsyth, but also gives them a platform on his channel with over 14,000 subscribers when they are known to be this disgusting. No one who has ever done this degenerate, disgusting behavior that Nattie Forsyth has done would ever be allowed on my channel.
What's up, gamers? Today we'll be counting how many videos LoopedQ made on Nathrix, aka Scrimzox, aka Nattie Forsyth. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 right there. Oh my god, this is impeccable. 28 videos. Jesus Christ. And lots of these videos, oh sorry, 29, silly me. And a lot of these videos, not all of them of course, but a lot of them are after when Nat was, you know, had those allegations against her in 2019, in which she's covered multiple times now. Under her Scrimzox alias, no one actually cared, no one brought up the allegations because she already addressed it on the Nathrix channel. And LoopedQ seemed to not have a problem here, so why is he doing it bad faith now and trying to use it as a point against me? Even when I have expressed multiple times that she did mess up greatly on those situations. I'm of course willing to hear out both sides of the story, unlike this guy who's completely biased. Yes, so 2 years after Nat's allegations came out, you still made multiple videos of them on their Scrimzox alias getting hacked and basically campaigned for their replatformation. And you were quite literally friends with her up until your departure from the internet, I think about a year ago or two. And oh, you can definitely try and play this up to the audience and claim, well, I was never supporting her actions. Well, how is that situation any different to mine? I cover literally the discrepancies in her situation from where people spread obvious misinformation about her and then merged cases together to make a Frankenstein of a situation to villainize her. I had originally called her out for the years-old sleep stream, and I obviously believe that her past actions don't indicate who she is today. I had put Nat in my Homotopia Response video because both of us were intertwined with the situation, and she didn't have a platform to defend herself on and give her complete side of the story because her channel was literally gone. It is very disingenuous to claim that I defended all her actions and I was complicit in giving her a platform when me and her were literally being transparent with the situation, in which was something everyone wanted to hear. They wanted to hear our side of the story. But now that we have, of course, given our side of the story, it is now being narrative shifted into, well, you're actually re-platforming her. And of course, LoopedQ doesn't include Nat's defense in this video, and actually includes very slim, small clips of it, because he is extremely manipulative. He totally wouldn't include Nat like 30 times on the channel, and most of these instances were literally after her allegations had came out too. But it's great that you're trying to virtue signal over them and not include the segment where she defends herself on. Nat will obviously make a response, and I cannot wait to see LoopedQ's response. Maybe he would just entirely ignore it like he did for the majority of mine. Nattie Forsyth plans on making like a 2-hour response debunking every allegation. If If LoopedQ is genuinely vehemently trying to claim that this person's a bad person, then go over every single instance of Nat addressing the situation then.
But again, Parlo is the type of person to create femboy Discord servers intended for underage people, so can people really be surprised?
Now here he tries to make some nonchalant link to me and Nat, alluding to the fact that, well, I'm not making any assumptions, guys, that Parlo's a predator or anything. However, he deliberately made a degenerate server for minors, even though, let's pause on this, I've tackled this extremely manipulative response multiple times. LoopedQ is trying to do this thing where he can state multiple bad faith half-truths, and enough to the point where eventually people will start to believe him without questioning his authenticity as sources. With that one clip, I literally can prove that he's trying to build like connections to me and Nat, which is absolutely crazy, and I can't believe he's trying to do this.
Like, Parlo is still on speaking terms and admits this in his video with Nattie, who has not only been bashed from this community for being disgusting, but has gone over to create multiple aliases that have no connection to their main audience, all because of how badly their name has been tarnished, because of how bad their reputation is after doing all the disgusting and disturbing things that they have done, and been proven to do with multiple eyewitnesses.
I'm literally in connection with Nattie Forsyth right now to consult her about her situations, and also to report her side of the story in the Homotopia situation. And also, Nat has been very open about every name change she did on YouTube.
Why do I look and sound like Nattie? Well, I'm going to share with you some information right now that may upset or shock you. I'm Nattie.
And the Bloxitron alias was Hannah Forix, Nat's partner, and it was basically them just screwing around and making it obvious that they were behind the account, but also leaving slight ambiguity and making people question and double guess themselves, maybe thinking it wasn't them. But obviously they were joking on it, I mean it was obvious, and the narrative warping that she was avoiding the allegations, it's a hilarious lie that people like to purport. Sure, Nat absolutely screwed up in the past, and I'm not defending that obviously. If you watch the Trash Talk episode, I obviously give her a lot of criticism, and I have consulted her on every subject for hours. I don't tell people this because they're not obligated to hear what happens in private, but to say I'm complicit in defending her degeneracy is a lie. I've consulted her on a lot of situations, and I've gone on both sides of each situation. I get in a bridge of contact with a bunch of people who have allegations levied against them. I was in contact with Robotic Developer, I was in contact with ZZ, I was in contact with Lisa Gaming Roblox. I'm in a contact, or was in contact, with a lot of people. It wasn't just Nattie Forsyth. Just because I have contact with someone doesn't mean I defend them in each and every one of their actions. That's just not true, and there's no proof to that basis. It's a confirmed pedophile. This is a slanderous lie. It was never confirmed, and via a police report after the police have searched all her socials and computer images for literally 8 months consistently, the situation was deemed inconclusive, and they have negated her of any culpability in that situation.
And it truly does not matter that they got absolved of the crime by the police, because the police don't care if you're disgusting and they allow you to be free. Sadly, they can't convict on degenerate actions, so that's just how it is.
So LoopedQ shows here a clip of me regarding the legal police report Nat received, alleviating her of culpability regarding allegations of her having cheese pizza. I merely read and summarize the report, and now apparently this is being twisted into me defending her. So according to that logic, did the UK police defend Nat by making this report? You know, after searching 8 months on everything she has, they found absolutely nothing. And people like to say, well, it's inconclusive. Well, the whole point is that they searched for everything and found nothing. So where is the contention point here? Oh yes, defending her because I read a legal document on a video. So stupid. Also, LoopedQ here states that the police can't convict someone of degeneracy. So this is basically him then admitting that Nat didn't do anything illegal in this situation, because the police convict people of illegality and crimes, and according to even LoopedQ, he states that the police in this situation didn't convict Nat because they don't convict people in their degeneracy, which doesn't even make sense because Duke, who did vile stuff with a 16-year-old, was arrested and did pretty degenerate things if you ask me. So once again, this situation is more based on subjectivity coming from LoopedQ, and he has no actual valid rebuttal in this situation. He himself here doesn't even use the word illegality in the situation because he knows that, you know, Nattie Forsyth provided a legal document proving that, you know, the UK police looked over everything and couldn't find one illegal thing she did. So all he had to do is dumb down the word to, oh well, she's not an illegal predator, but she's a degenerate then.
But Parlo is giving Nattie Forsyth, of all people, access to a 15-year-old femboy server, and keep in mind, Nattie is 23. Parlo is giving him access to this, and he's posting photos like this which I can't even show.
Oh no, you totally got us here. Oh wait, it's not like Nat didn't address this in the response video, and you didn't even bother showing it. Nat didn't see the rules and believed it was a loot server. She even asked me for moderation perms to prevent minors from being in it. She can literally attest that she banned users who had minor in their bio and didn't even see the introduction channel or the rules. Why would she do this openly and post that openly in a server where she knew minors were in, which was literally a public accessible server? She knew that if that ever came out, it would damage her credibility severely if she knew that minors were in these channels. However, there is no proof to indicate that she knew there were minors in this server, and originally in my DMs with Jackeries, I got the situation wrong because I was blatantly misinformed. But LoopedQ, it was very respectable how you just can't be bothered to show other people's sides of the story in this situation in your crappily lazily made hit piece videos. And then LoopedQ's point here is that Nat, not aware of minors in this server, posted that image and then shows an atrocious blur over it, literally changing nothing about the image. You could still see the underwear, the stomach, and the thighs publicly on his video for everyone else to see. Like, great job, LoopedQ. You even said that you can't show it and then proceed to show it.
Parlo is giving him access to this, and he's posting photos like this, which I can't even show, and saying the excuse of, oh, I was working out.
I had posted my stomach with the top of my hips showing to the server, as I had been working out and wanted to see if people thought I was slim or not. It was comparable to content already being posted on the server by some people.
It's something that makes me want to bleach my eyes, genuinely. I'm actually saving the viewers from suffering by blurring it out, but just know, this shows Nattie Forsyth's underwear.
Then he shows one contention point from Nattie's whole response, because her response was solid and he has no rebuttal to like 99% of what she says, so he basically had to bring up this one little discrepancy and try and wiggle in any rebuttal. And then he states, I'm saving my viewers from witnessing the image, and then proceeds to repost the image again in the video with the crappy blur over it. The images in the server were mainly abdominal progress pictures, and LoopedQ can't even be bothered to address this fact any further, so he moves on from it.
And there's no NSFW channels. This was posted in an unmarked channel. Parlo himself says,
no channels were marked as not safe for work as the server was not safe for work and it was against the rules to post.
There was no NSFW channels. Acting like that makes it good. This makes it even worse. Then there was no type of warning, and all you had to do was scroll up and you could just see Nattie Forsyth's underwear, a 23-year-old inside of a 15-year-old femboy Discord server.
Here he states, because there were no not safe for work channels in a server with 15+ regulations, that is apparently even worse in red text when considering what Nat had posted in general. So what this guy is trying to insinuate is that it would be better if there was a not safe for work channel in this server? Is he trying to campaign for a porn channel on the same server where minors are allowed in? Is there something that you're trying to tell us, LoopedQ? Because I think we'd all love to hear it. How is having no not safe for work servers on a server like that even worse? That's crazy. What are you trying to infer there?
There was no NSFW channels. Acting like that makes it good. This makes it even worse. Keep in mind, Parlo did not only allow creepy Nattie Forsyth to be in the server, but also gave them mod in the server, completely validating the fact that they were allowed to be there.
I was made mod for the server.
And I think this point's really great. He basically includes 1 second of Nat's response with her stating she was a mod, despite the fact that right after, where he literally cut off her speaking, she quite literally went into detail on why she was a mod on the server, and literally explained it all in the video already. But no, LoopedQ, please continue and try and push the narrative that I was complicit in giving a evil, creepy Nattie Forsyth the mod perms, so they could abuse people in a server, which never happened. I love how he just consistently crops out Nat's response to the situation, which would completely change the narrative had you actually heard her side of the story.
In turn, making Parlo disgusting and degenerate for not only creating this server in the first place, but allowing degenerates like Nattie Forsyth to run it.
So by this cancerous logic, I'm apparently a disgusting person for making a safe work hangout server in which I had no idea would delve into the grounds of degeneracy that it did, because not even LoopedQ can prove my complicitness in this situation. And 2, apparently I gave degenerates with the S at the end, inferring that I gave other terrible people moderation permissions. The only other person I can think of is Day, who got banned for saying disgusting things to Pyro. And with Nattie Forsyth, if I knew she was a pedo, in which everyone can't even argue that she is, why would I given her the ability to be involved with minors whatsoever if she was a pedophile? Like, that goes entirely against my moral code. If anything, I would have cut ties with them. And also this whole point about me being in connections with Nat's bad. I'm literally in connections with ZZ. I don't understand this whole stupid point people are trying to bring up here.
Now, Parlo might use the excuse of, oh, I'm taking accountability, the server should have never been made, but this was recent. It wasn't 3 years ago this guy made this. It was just this year people were posting in this server.
Screenshot here, you can see on the 14th, that's when the server was created. You can see the server link there. Keep in mind, this server was literally established on May the 14th. Now, with this point, I don't even know why this is being made. Yes, this was something that was months ago, not years ago, but it's better that I'm addressing it now head on rather than years later, so how is this even a point of contention? Also keep in mind, it's been like 4 or 5 months, so if I had lied in a situation, then the people involved in the server who were actually there and active, who know that Cammy is literally me, would have come out trying to claim that I was either lying about the situation and giving the truth about it. However, none have, because my side of the story is quite literally supported with facts, testimonies, and the truth. Also, the fact that LoopedQ just brushes off any accountability I take in this situation is absolutely disgusting. I have severely, regretted my actions ever making this server, because it completely went the way I didn't want it to. And obviously, this is going to be something that sticks with me, and I do regret what happened. I don't know why this is being twisted as something that, oh, well, it was months ago, so therefore even if you took accountability, it doesn't matter. It's ridiculous.
This is not only massively degenerate, massively disgusting, and the fact that Parlo ever created this server in the first place should be a reason to keep your kids away from him and no longer support him.
And yes, the classic thing right here, I think the thing which is literally going to be immortalized with LoopedQ stating, keep your kids away from Parlo. This guy is quite literally trying to infer that I'm a pedophile. Therefore, LoopedQ does not deserve to have credibility in this situation for this baseline level slander and disgusting comment. He completely maliciously does not establish why I made this server, and instead lies consistently to hope that his views won't look into this situation any further.
Now, the people originally exposing Parlo for this were also horrible people, and I don't support them either. It's possible not to support the people exposing them and not to support Parlo for what he has done. Just because the people exposing him were also degenerates, it does not subtract at all from what Parlo has done.
So with this point, he lackadaisically tried to hinge what XDGAMER did away from this situation, and I'm going to explain why that's completely illogical. LoopedQ doesn't even bother to mention the people like XDGAMER and Sydiced who have engaged in disgusting and deplorable illegal actions. Instead, he generalizes them as degenerates, instead of even bothering to mention their name, and then goes back to attacking me again. XDGAMER made the Homotopia document after his extensive, now over a year cyberstalking campaign against me to try and get me to game in myself, and deliberately lied and warped the narrative of the situation in his Homotopia Exposed document on me, and deliberately tried to make me seem worse and the server worse than it actually was, and this is because his whole goal is to try and get as many people as possible to turn against me. However, due to his disgusting actions and lies in this document, that is failing horrendously. The action LoopedQ tries to do in this situation will not work. XDGAMER's actions act as crucial context for why the document was formatted the way it was against me, and the vendetta he had against me to make him basically purport the amount of disingenuous lies he did against me. The document was even made under my dad's doc's legal name, so to try and separate the points used and the accuser, who is a liar and horrible person, will not work in this situation, and everyone will see the truth. You have to know the context and the author of this document. You have to know why the document was made. I don't know why that's some sort of contention point here.
And what he has admitted to doing.
Admitted to doing? What did I admit to doing? I made the server intended to be a safer work server, and I gave mod to Nat, who stated that she wanted mod to ban any minors in the server, and got the wrong impressions of what the server actually was. What did I admit to doing? I don't understand.
Mentioning both Sydiced and XDGAMER at the beginning of the video with the intent to shift the focus on the situation you're in doesn't make it look any better. The video is supposed to be about you. I understand its correlation, however it's just rather ignorant to do.
Okay, so this guy with a text-to-speech understands the reason and correlation for why I brought up what XDGAMER and Sydiced did, so the viewers know what they did, but somehow he then states that he is now ignorant and an irrelevant situation to the main point I'm making, which is quite literally him just contradicting his own point here. They, and these people I'm mentioning, XDGAMER, Sydiced and all their goon squad, have absolute relevance to the situation because XDGAMER was the person who made the document, who brought the whole situation to light, so I have every right to go over what he did and why he made the document and used wordplay manipulation to make the situation seem infinitely worse than it actually was. They have massive relevance to this situation because they're the one who was spreading these lies to begin with. You can't just say, I understand the reason and correlation to this situation, and then go ahead and state, well, it's actually irrelevant to this situation. That makes no sense.
What occurred in Homotopia was still bad, especially in an environment full of minors. I have multiple screenshots of NSFW content being posted despite your claims of that not occurring. I have seen an alternate document of the uncensored images, and as expected from a femboy server, it was nothing but disgusting degenerate behavior.
Now, most of the screenshots implying not safe for work was posted was false, a fabrication, and a lie, and XDGAMER utilized in this document blurs and black boxes to make the images seem worse than they actually were. But I'll give it on this point. There was a Garfield image with a woman with a partially showing her bunda, and that image was from a user with a white name, indicating that they were quite literally banned. So the inference that this server was not safe for work wholly relies on one banned user and a cherry-picked screenshot from a server that was reasonably active with like 90 members.
At this point, there's just no way you're gonna catch me supporting the previous owner of an underage femboy Discord server.
Don't worry, LoopedQ, I don't want you to support me. You're a horrible human being who I banned from my Discord server for having horrible takes about downloading CP to expose someone else for having it. And quite frankly, I don't want anything to do with you after this situation is over. I don't seek your support and I will never seek it again.
In which there was no NSFW channels, meaning 15-year-olds were exposed to Nattie Forsyth's 23-year-old disgusting, suggestive photos.
And despite the fact that the Nattie Panty situation hanged on the line of Nat not knowing what the rules and the server was because she believed it was a lewd server, LoopedQ has now also exposed his views to the image with the crappy blur, so now he's made more people aware of the image, so great job there, buddy. Obviously, as I've prefaced this before, I had no idea that Nat ever posted that image in the server because I was not active, and Nat never knew there were minors in the server and thought it was a lewd server, and that's why they posted it. They had no idea there were underage people in the server according to her, and there was no proof depicting otherwise. And when I saw that document, which XDGAMER made with that image in it, I went to Nat in a call and I yelled at her because I was extremely mad that she did that, not knowing the full context, but I'm still very angry she did do that. And my friend who's in the call, Hawks, can actually vouch for me. I was extremely angry. I was very, very, very angry. And there is pretty much no excuse. Obviously, she needs to take accountability for that. And I'm not defending her in that situation at all. It looks like a horrible look for the server.
Moving on though to how I actually made Parlo deactivate his Twitter account and private it because of how badly I destroyed him whenever he randomly decided to call me out.
Now this is another point I want to address because it's so annoying that I have to keep repeating myself, because when I do educate people in a situation, they go like, I see now, okay, I'm on your side, so I'm going to do it here. I didn't deactivate my Twitter account because of him. I deactivated because I was told by my mutuals that Twitter sucked and it was damaging for my mental health and it was better to get off of. It had nothing to do with LoopedQ. He didn't destroy me, and this is more narcissism and egotism spouting away from his unchecked ego. And I'll explain the entire situation right here, right now. LoopedQ had made a video of a guy who was pretending to be dying in order to get clout, attention, and a dominus, or some like Roblox item, and this was big news on Twitter, and his situation garnered hundreds of likes from people who I know. LoopedQ made a video about it, and after a couple days I did too. Now this guy got mad and he had a bit of soy rage that I covered the same situation, despite the fact he had covered situations which I have covered literally multiple times before, so he's hypocritical. So he came to me with baby rage and stated that I need to give him credit immediately for the video idea, despite the fact that he does not own the public Twitter drama, he does not own the copyright to it, so I said he didn't own the video idea and I left him alone. And also I used a bunch of other screenshots he didn't even use in the video because I did a lot more research than he did. But anyway, when I left him alone, he contacted me on an alternate account too, and at this point this was annoying. He was contacting me on my alternate accounts to try and state how apparently he owned a video idea in which he doesn't own intellectual rights to. And he was literally trying to start drama with me, and I like how he tries to say he's genuine here. No, he's not.
And of course, trying to grasp at straws, he used whenever I asked him for credits after he used one of my video ideas. From about 4 days before he posted his video on it, I was the first person to post on a certain video topic, and he just used my idea, gave me no credits. Of course, I went to him in DMs instead of publicly trying to call him out on Twitter because I'm genuinely a decent person, and the fact that Parlo ever created this server in the first place should be a reason to keep your kids away from him.
You're literally trying to start drama over a video idea, which I didn't steal from you because it was literally public Twitter drama, and you have literally covered the same topics I have literally days after my videos too. And also, LoopedQ, if you're such a genuine and nice person, why did you consistently start drama with me on Discord until I had to ban you from the server? Then you came and started drama again, rekindling the flames after claiming I stole your video idea when you don't actually own that video idea. It was public Twitter drama. And then also, why do you decide to make this bad faith video without ever contacting me in private first of all, and then just literally spreading and propagating false information about me, in which I have now debunked in this video? You're not as genuine as you try and say you are. So anyway, after his comeback to YouTube a couple months back, his thumbnail structure had undergone changes in which were quite similar to my own, and it was quite obvious he was piggybacking off off of mine due to the Twitter screenshot layout and the character placement, and it was obviously heavily inspired. In his video, he tries to state how he did this in 2018, showing a video in which doesn't look like anything of what he's trying to compare in this situation, and it was clear he was just scrambling over hundreds of his videos in the past to try and make a coherent point in which eventually didn't even end up landing with this situation. Literally, compare what his old thumbnails were before he left YouTube, and then compare his thumbnails now to when I was literally making the same content. You can clearly tell it's heavily inspired. You can't lie your way out of the situation, it's heavily inspired. I'm not saying you're completely copying me, but it is heavily inspired. So anyway, I made a video calling this person out who faked cancer for a VALC, and then suddenly 15 minutes later, LoopedQ basically snatches the title and makes a thumbnail that sparks some resemblance to mine. I didn't say he copied the thumbnail, but his thumbnails over the past few weeks were heavily inspired from me, and that isn't a lie. Gone Fishing brought this up as a point in his video, but when I told him about the situation in private, he agreed with me. And the problem was I didn't voice my opinion over this subject very well in public and on Twitter. But this is extremely hypocritical of LoopedQ for trying to start drama with me in private for a video idea he didn't own, while he himself is nabbing assets from my thumbnails, and his points to try and invalidate my side are extremely weak and fragile.
Parlo's ego is just so large that he thinks that people are copying him all because they use a tweet in the thumbnail. It was so bad, he was literally hiding replies of people calling him out since his own fans were following me and calling him out.
I love when he's claiming I had an ego for justifiably calling him out, yet in the same sentence he's bragging that, oh, your fans are actually calling you out and actually following my account, so haha. Like, the ego on LoopedQ is simply unchecked, and he is extremely hypocritical in this instance.
Why are you so insecure about your video style that people can't even have a similar thumbnail structure to you using tweets?
He also states, well, why can't people have a similar thumbnail structure to you? Almost acting as an admission that, well, yes, he did or was heavily inspired by my thumbnail structure, because he quite evidently was.
But also, he's not the one that created this trend in the first place. People like Moist Critical have been using tweets in their thumbnails for a while now, and Parlo was not the first to do so.
Bro also brought up Moist Critical as some garbage point to try and justify the fact that he copied or was heavily inspired by my thumbnail structure. Me and Moist Critical's thumbnails literally look nothing alike, and this is a completely brain-dead take. He is trying to alleviate his culpability by stating, well, even if I did copy you or I was like heavily inspired, your thumbnail structure is also unoriginal, so it doesn't matter. And you wouldn't have to use this argument, you know, had you not had culpability in this situation. So he's trying to play two sides here because he's being very manipulative.
Since he's obviously delusional, but it's just mere coincidence. He literally calls me out for using the word insane. Titles, word placement in the thumbnail, stealing the word insane that I use, assets clearly nabbed. First of all, those are obviously Twitter's assets, not Parlo's. But also, you can't own the word insane. It just shows how insane Parlo is. He was literally using his video for almost a month ago to try to say I stole the word insane. This guy is delusional. And the fact that no one was on his side at all proves this. And these were all his own fans.
LoopedQ is gaslighting his audience and lying, basically pretending as if he did not see my thumbnails and it was merely a coincidence that they kinda looked the same. But anyone with a brain can see how he evidently changed up his thumbnail structure as soon as he returned to spark a very clear resemblance to mine. This isn't some ego thing that I'm saying, it's pretty obvious, anyone with a brain can see. He basically came back, analyzed other Roblox commentary thumbnails such as mainly mine, and copied the skeletal structure of the thumbnail. In no other thumbnails he can bring up does it show him utilizing these new thumbnails in the past. Basically, ever since I started using them, he followed suit very quickly, with obviously the Roblox avatar on the left, red word placement above or below the tweets. He utilized the word insane after me because I had continuously used it in my past thumbnails. The fact he doesn't have the balls to admit he did this shows what kind of gaslighting manipulator he is. And it isn't even a big point. If he just admits it, it's one of those things where, okay, he took accountability, we can move on. But it just shows how hypocritical he is. He basically tries to dog on me on DMs for the same video idea, and apparently I stole it from him despite the fact there's public Twitter drama, while he himself was using my video ideas and also replicated my thumbnail structure, and they do spark a clear resemblance. Even worse is that he was laughing at comments in my Twitter replies and claiming and gaslighting to his audience once again, stating that they were my fans that were actually turning on me, when if you actually look at both of these comments, both of these people hate me, and one of them is literally stating that I'm a waste of oxygen. But it's actually great that LoopedQ is finding this immature drama, this immature petty drama comedic, because this isn't the first time he's made drama out of a situation situation like this. He's literally tried to unironically expose Alex for his joke face reveal. It's crazy how this guy has any credibility, like, after everything he's done. Even Flamingo dunked on this guy because he literally made a video stating, is Albert gay for James Charles? Like, this guy should have no credibility. It's crazy how people still believe him.
Because I'm genuinely a decent person. Either way though, he used my idea. I wasn't gonna do anything about it. It doesn't really matter that much. I was just seeing if he was a genuine person or not. It's obvious he's not, but again, at this
Also, I love how you don't bother showing the DMs you gave to me because it actually makes you look bad, and then you unironically ask for credits for a video idea over drama which was massive and you don't own the right to. And then LoopedQ with his ego decides to put himself on a pedestal above me and state I'm not a genuine person but he's a genuine person and that he's a decent person. And is extremely ironic after this bad faith, horrible, slanderous video he made, where he says children cannot be trusted around me, and was actually siding with Mini Blockster in the whole RDC situation, claiming that I apparently did it for clout. That's right, me reporting a terroristic threat was apparently for clout, guys, according to LoopedQ, because he was trying to justify it by stating, oh, the threat was obviously a joke. No, there's no way of telling that, and it's better to take a threat like that seriously than not to, in order to mitigate any mass casualty event that may transpire. But LoopedQ was being purposely ignorant and starting drama in that server, and that's why he was banned. That's why he has a vendetta against me of all people.
But again, at this point, I didn't know he was the former owner of an underage femboy Discord server, so I had no idea how degenerate and disgusting this guy actually was. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys go ahead and like this video and subscribe with notifications on for more videos like this in the future, talking about disgusting degenerates like Parlo and other situations happening in the Roblox community. And goodbye.
And then to end off this cancerous video, he once again tries to self-promote himself like, yeah guys, we just slandered and lied about Parlo for like 13 minutes, but make sure to leave a like and subscribe for this epic content. But yeah, that's about everything regarding debunking this guy's horrific hit piece video on me, and I love how he calls me not genuine, then releases one of the most disingenuous videos I have ever seen. So hopefully every viewer watching this can understand what a liar LoopedQ is, and the other bad actor associates who purported false lies against me. And obviously this video is not intended for hate, harassment, or cyberbullying. This video is just an educational video intended to defend myself and inform the public about the truth. LoopedQ, do better next time because this is a horrific thing to do. Once again, I can't apologize enough for this whole situation. However, for what transpired in that server, I have very deep regret, obviously, and have taken accountability multiple times for what has transpired. And I just feel disgusted in what happened on that server, obviously, and that disgust is also mixed with anger about what was actually happening behind my back in that server when I was inactive. I should have never been entrusted with owner on that server at the same time I was suffering from severe suicidality, and I should have probably not gone through with making it in the first place. The idea of making a safe work hangout server failed horrifically, despite me at first having high aspirations for it, and I obviously take accountability for being a negligent server owner, and I promise that a situation like this will never ever happen again. I have definitely seen my wrongs in this situation, and I hope to severely improve from these pathetic mistakes again. Thank you for watching. Until the end, goodbye.
Do